Hi, we're here today with Alex Chu. He is the $1 Million Homepage guy. He's one of our group, media group director Simon Hicks's people that he looks up to. So I know he's quite excited behind the camera right now. Hi Alex, how are you?
Hello, good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. So tell us about how the $1 Million Homepage project sort of came about.
Yeah, so it's like 5 years ago almost, and
how old are you now?
26.
Okay.
So I'm getting on a bit, and
ancient.
Yeah, it's bad. And so yeah, I was off to uni, and I didn't want to get a big debt, so I was having a little brainstorm one night before going to uni, about a month before, and just sort of brainstorming ideas, trying to think of an idea to make some money, and I wrote down a question on notepads, which was how could I become a millionaire before going to uni. I mean, it was quite an ambitious goal, but then I sort of went with it because it sparked a creative kind of process in my mind, and like 10 minutes later came up with this idea that I'd sell 1 million pixels for $1 each, and $1 Million Homepage was born. And I'd like to say it was more dramatic, but it was just the result of, a notepad and pen and late at night, and and then it took off. And
I would like to learn how to play the drums, because I think
I'm learning.
Drumming is a bit cool. Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I've had 3 lessons.
What can you do?
Quite a lot, actually.
Really?
I'm pretty good. Well, I've been beatboxing for 15 years.
Oh wow!
So it makes it much easier to pick drums up.
Yeah.
Because you already have the rhythms and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just about coordinating.
It wasn't just that. It was people obviously had to find out about it.
Yes.
How did you get that sort of momentum going?
Okay, yeah. So after the idea, I had the idea. I knew it was crazy enough, quirky enough an idea to potentially capture some attention. I didn't know to what extent it would. But the first $1,000 I sold were really to friends and family. I kind of wrote them into it, and if it hadn't have been successful, I probably would have had to pay them back. So, but I managed to get this $1,000 like cobbled together, and I used that to send a press release out, and like it was 600 quid or something.
Yeah. And
I used a company called PR Newswire, and that press release got picked up by the BBC, the Guardian, and the Register, the IT website. And on the day that those articles came out, I made like $2,000, and I was like, "Whoa, this thing's working!" And the next day, I made like 3,000, and then it just sort of kept on flowing in. And I was really kind of taken aback by the fact the idea was working. And this is like pre social networking, really, before that became ubiquitous. So the power in terms of distributing an idea really still was very much with the mainstream press, and increasingly at the time blogs as well, and that kind of came at similar sort of time. So yeah, I gave it a push, and once the ball was rolling, it became this unstoppable idea that spread across the internet like wildfire, and it was very exciting.
And you got there in the end.
Yes, 4 months later, after going to uni and spending most of my time not in lectures, but actually like on the phone doing interviews and running the website and fulfilling orders and getting a few beers in the bar in the evening. And the whole thing was pretty surreal, and it went very fast. And it was really kind of a testament to the power of the internet. But yeah, so it was around New Year's Eve that I kind of got very close to the finish line. And yeah, so like January, just sometime early January it finished, and made $1 million. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much of it do you still have?
Well, I invested some of it.
Yeah.
I bought a flat near my parents' home in Wiltshire, and obviously gave some to the taxman, and there were some costs associated with running the project as well. I ended up hiring a couple of guys to help me run the site, that sort of thing. So in all honesty, I don't really know. So yeah.
My friend has a djembe.
What?
It's called djembe, like a big sort of Indian-ish drum.
Sweet.
Made that up, don't know, from somewhere. Yeah. So you're on the side, and yeah, like that. Yeah. Did you continue on at uni after your...
No, I didn't. I dropped out. I suspended my course. So I thought I was going to go back a year later.
What course were you studying?
I was doing business.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm honest, I didn't want to do. I actually wanted to do philosophy, and but I went to uni with the intention of switching courses, but they didn't let me. So that was one of the reasons I didn't go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't complete the course, and it was really because everything had gone nuts, and I wasn't really sure what to do, and I thought that it would be best to sort of capitalise on the opportunities that sort of lay in front of me at the time.
So what have you been doing in the last sort of 5-6 years?
So I've done a whole range of projects, some that haven't quite taken off, some that have been successful in their own right. So immediately after I did the $1 Million homepage, sort of later in the year 2006, I did a thing called Pixelotto, which was kind of a variation on the $1 Million homepage idea. I wanted to create an incentive and create this prize draw thing and try and give away $1 million. And it didn't quite take off, and it was obviously not necessarily the most original idea, and I think that was one of the reasons why it didn't take off. And I had that kind of difficult second album problem. I was, I guess, struggling to be creative at the time, so I thought I'd better just do something, and this is something worth doing. It sort of played on the same theme. I thought there was some benefit in doing that idea, but it wasn't a complete failure. It still generated like $300,000 in revenue. The guy from Kenya who won $153,000,
wow,
which in Kenya is a lot of money. And this was just around the time
At my house, it's a fair bit of money as well.
Yeah, well, it's a fair bit of money regardless, but especially in a place like Kenya, and that was in the wake of their post-election kind of turbulence and stuff. So, and there's also charity donations. So that project was kind of, I don't know, kind of break-even kind of thing. But not the most, I have to admit, not the most original idea. And so then in 2008 I launched a company called Pop Jam, which was a comedy sharing website for sharing your favourite memes with your friends, stuff that you'd find, and kind of like a comedy aggregator.
Okay.
A mixture of kind of Twitter and Dig. And that idea didn't really fly, it didn't take off. But we did have one success in its own right. We had a project called, not a project actually, more just a very simple thing. So do you remember the President Bush shoe throwing incident? The guy.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was playing FIFA with my friend, and we were wondering what the headlines were going to be the next day, in terms of the puns, what puns that the people would use. And I came up with one, which was sock and all, and thought it was pretty good, and then thought nothing of it. And when I was going to bed, I thought I might just buy that domain name, and so I bought the .com, not really sure what to do with it. But then in the morning, I went into the office and then had worked it out. So we would build a flash game and like cobble it together, do it really quickly. And so we did. We put aside our work that we were doing and launched this flash game where you throw the shoe at President Bush and try and hit him as many times as you can in 30 seconds. And we launched it on the Monday night, so like a day, very, very quick after the actual event. And it got like 400 hits in the evening because we launched it in the evening on Twitter, that sort of thing. But the next day it got 400,000 uniques, and then the next day it got like 1 million, and then like 2 million the next day. So by the end of the week we had like 7 million visitors, which was crazy. And we used it to collect email addresses for our main project. So that ended up being sold on eBay a few days after launching for like $5,000. So a little success, but was pretty crazy in terms of just the numbers. And it was very popular in the Middle East actually. When we're looking at the Google Analytics map. Well, I'm not sure. Really not sure.